everyone, we are the Group 9 and we were going to report about the Chapter 9, the Globally Conscious Engineer. So, civil and structural engineers need to pay close attention to constraints and potential challenges for each project site. Physical and legal boundaries set the focus area, allowing engineers to concentrate design effort into reasonable chunks that are defined by specific needs and resources. Local data is obtained from a variety of sources, including geotechnical reports, environmental impact reports, zoning regulation, existing land development patterns, and political bodies, such as city councils and country legislative boards. Even at local level, it is clear to see how the constructed environment affects the surrounding population. Water drainage patterns must be maintained. Sensitive pockets of land must be respective change. Is inevitable, but a healthy symbiotic relationship is mandatory. There are legitimate differences of opinion as to how this relationship can best be managed, but everyone can agree that some level of protection is required for the benefit of future generations. So, pag sinabing conscious engineer, dapat hindi lang ang isang problema dun sa pagtatayuan mo ng isang structures, hindi dapat isaalang-alang din natin yung environment, yung benefit sa ibang tao. So, that is conscious. Conscious dapat sa kung yung structures ba na yun ay makakatulong sa tao na nandoon sa environment na yun. So, this is the types of relationship ng isang kung paano ma-manage dun sa isang environment. So, the first one, it is mutualism. It is the goal where all affected entities or species benefit from change. So, ito yung mutualism. Dito lahat naman ng tao o dun sa isang environment ay naka-benefit dun sa projects na yun. So, next one is commensalism. It may also be acceptable where one or several entities or species benefit from change and others are not negatively affected. So, dito naman sa commensalism, yung ibang entities or species daw, species ay naka-benefit dun sa isang itatayo na structures. Pero, hindi rin siya negatively naka-affected dun sa mga tao na nandun. So, next one is parasitism, where one group of participants benefits and the remaining entities are harmed. This is a condition that should be avoided as completely as possible. So, dito naman sa parasitism, yung ibang participants doon naka-benefit siya, nakatulong siya, pero mas maraming nakapahamak doon sa isang bagay na yon. So, dapat daw itong iwasan. So, as a problem solvers, engineers need to be trained to think beyond the local project level and adapt mindset toward needs on a global scale where specialized education and training can be used to benefit more extensive, diverse group of clients and fellow human beings. So, dito, bilang isang problem solvers daw, ang engineers daw ay dapat na trained siya dun sa local project level. Dapat ma-adapt niya yung mindset ng mga tao dun sa isang environment. So, next is global consciousness. Bring to mind logical experiment that began in 1998 as an attempt to detect a relationship between a common mindset and emotional connection among human beings and the behavior of physical systems in the surrounding environment. So, ito naman, yung global consciousness, yung relationship daw ng isang common mindset ng isang tao dun sa emotional connection naman sa ibang tao. So, globally conscious engineer. So, one who exhibits the qualities and dispositions identify these characteristics are necessary for the development of a system of ethics that is truly tolerant and genuinely selfless. Ito namang globally conscious engineer, ito dapat yung qualities and disposition na nag-identify sa isang engineer or characteristics niya na kailangan sa pag-develop ng isang sistema ng ethnic sa isang ethnic. So, dito, next one is characteristics of a globally conscious engineer. Ito dapat yung taglayin ng isang globally conscious engineer. So, one is understands the cross-cultural interconnection of system, institution, and action. 2. Acknowledges the value of all cultures. 3. Demonstrates open-mindedness toward the diversity of native belief and activity. So, 4. Recognizes the implication of engineering decisions beyond the local level. So, 5. Predisposed to act in an informed way that benefits society beyond self. So, 6. Able to identify ethical issues and critically examine multiple solutions or outcomes. So, 7. Elevates the importance of sustainable, environmentally friendly solutions. So, 8. Practices a willingness to help those who may be disadvantaged due to income or position. Sa global reality, codes of ethics developed by engineering societies universally recognize the impact of engineers on a global scale for present and future generations. So, the American Society of Civil Engineers, ASE, states that engineers utilize their knowledge and skills to enhance the quality of life for humanity. So, sabi daw nung ASE, yung engineers daw, kailangan magamit yung knowledge at yung skills niya para ma-enhance yung kalidad ng buhay sa humanity. So, Engineers Australia, EA, recognize that engineers promote sustainability by balancing the needs of the present with the needs of future generations. So, dito, yung Engineers Australia daw ay na-recognize yung mga engineers na sa pag-promote sa pagpapatuloy ng balancing ng kailangan sa ngayon at sa kailangan sa future generations. Sa pamamagitan daw ng true identifications of opinions that have economic, environmental, and societal consequences. So, the Code of Ethics published by the World Federation of Engineering Organization, WFEO, emphasizes that engineers are to be aware that the principles of ecosystem, interdependence, diversity maintenance, resource recovery, and international harmony form the basis of humankind's continued existence. So, harmony refers to an inner or shared peace of tranquility among persons, an accord or agreement not in all things, but enough to foster mutual respect of a basic coexistence. So, yung harmony, nagre-refer siya sa inner or sa kapayapaan ng bawat isang tao, depende sa agreement, hindi man sa lahat ng bagay, pero sapat na yon para sa mutual respects sa bawat isa. So, next one is rules and responsibilities. So, Professor Angela Belfield, University of Colorado, Boulder, identifies two distinct perspectives for engineering ethical frameworks associated with the responsibility for the environment and sustainable practices. So, first one is anthropocentric, where the engineer believes that preservation of the environment is ultimately self-preservation for human life. So, yung anthropocentric ay, dito daw yung mga engineers ay believes that pagpipreserba ng ating environment ay pagpreserba din ng isang human life. So, second one is biocentric, where the engineers believes preservation of the environment is part of human responsibility due to the intrinsic right to life of all organisms on the planet. So, dito naman sa biocentric, ang isang pagpreserba daw ng isang environment ay responsibilidad daw ng isang tao. Depende daw sa intrinsic right of life na ang lahat ng organism dito sa planet na to. So, Albert Schweitzer argued that the most fundamental feature of humanity is not our intellect, but rather our will to live, both to survive and to grow, which naturally leads to a common respect for all life. So sabi ni Albert Schweitzer, yung humanity daw ay hindi isang kakayahan, kundi ito daw ay will natin sa buhay para makasurvive at para mag-grow. That ito daw ay naturally lends to a common respect para sa lahat ng buhay. So, elements of sustainability. So, 1, longevity of natural resources. 2, effective waste management. So, 3, protection of environmental quality. So, 4, social equity for all generations. So, 5, economic growth without exploitation. So, 6, resilience of human system of natural disaster. So, 7, reliable clean energy. So, itong elements na to ng sustainability, ito yung mga nakakatulong sa pag-sustain ng environment natin. So, next one is green construction codes and standards. So, the United States, the Constitution grants states the authority to regulate construction within their respective boundaries, except for federal buildings. So, the most widely published codes related to numerous fields in the construction industry are those produced by the International Code Council, ICC, which are assembled by numerous committees and subject to public input and scrutiny before hitting the shelves as model code documents. So, dito sa Green Construction Codes and Standards, ito yung constitution na state na authority to regulate construction. Depende dun sa boundary niya lang. Pero, except do yung federal buildings. So, next one is International Green Construction Code, IGCC. So, in May 2009, the ICC Board of Directors voted to create a sustainable building technology committee to work on the first draft of the IGCC. So, public comment hearings on the first draft were held in August 2010. A subsequent draft was produced for further comment and revision in November 2010. And final provisions were completed in October 2011 that lead to publication of the 2012 of the IGCC and is currently in a 3-year cycle. The codes provides minimum requirements for siting, design, construction, and operational plans for high-performance green building, primarily commercial, occupancies, and covers new buildings, new portions of existing buildings, and remote existing buildings. So, nung May 2009 daw yung ICC Board of Directors ay nabotohan para maka-create ng isang sustainable building technology. So, dito, nakapaloob daw yung minimum requirement sa isang site, design, construction, and operational plans para sa high-performance green building, commercial occupancy, and covers new buildings. At dun sa iba pang buildings na relocated sa existing buildings.
Hi guys, I am Joshua R. MAGARARU. Ito yung part ko sa report namin sa CILOS. So, federal laws. Federal environmental statutes and programs typically set the bar for the development, interpretation, and enforcement of regulations throughout the country, regardless of whether a project is federal funded or managed. Some of federal statutes administered by environmental protection agencies included the National Environmental Act of 1969, the Clean Air Act introduced in 1963, the Clean Water Act introduced in 1972, the Endangered Species Act of 1973, and Toxic Substances Act of 1976. Miscellaneous rules and regulations. Local permitting jurisdictions will also need to keep abreast of new regulations that affect land development or services provided design process for a project that requires judgment for projected environmental situations or conditions based on statistical models and charge research can be difficult, especially when the area is only partially controlled by regulations published by National Society of Professional Engineers Board of Ethical Review, NSPE BER. Case number 18-9 on January 22, 2019. Advisory opinion involved an engineer in private practice who was hired to perform hydrodynamic modeling and coastal risk assessment connected to climate change and future sea level for a residential development area. There are numerous principles within the Code of Ethics that apply to the engineer's obligation under the circumstances. Number 1, hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public. Number 2, if an engineer's judgment is overruled and appropriate authority. Number 3, approve only those documents that are in conformity with applicable standards. Number 4, advise clients when it is believed that a project will not be successful. And number 5, engineers are encouraged to adhere to the principles of sustainable development. Professional responsibility and discretion. Regional codes and land use policies often lag behind new research and discoveries that reveal better and even critically important changes in how resources should be managed. Engineers are expected to stay current in the areas of knowledge affecting those who ultimately use the product of their design, and they have a responsibility to share information or to correct misinformation when it may contribute to a more suitable outcome for a project. A rational position. Stuart Kaplow, an attorney who specializes in environmental law in Cockeysville, Maryland, discusses the difficulties of mandatory environmental building codes. He writes 2018 IGCC for use a voluntary compliance code promoting sustainability and energy efficiency for specifications and contract documents. He goes on to describe his observation on the current environmental focus in society. Social sustainability. There are primary areas of focus when it comes to sustainability: environmental, economic, and social. A healthy environment is necessary for strong development of all life forms, and a vibrant economy is crucial to securing free freedoms and lifestyle. Andrea Colantonio, London School of Economics and Political Sciences, and Tim Dixon of Oxford Institute of Sustainable Development describe the concept of social sustainability concerning how individuals, communities, and societies live with each other and set up to achieve the objectives of development models which they have chosen for themselves, also taking account the physical boundaries of their places and planet Earth as a whole. Key elements emphasize the very human aspect of running a business where the goal is not simply acquisition of wealth which can be used for different purposes but development of social structure. Key elements of social sustainability in business. Number 1, human rights. Number 2, fair labor practices. Number 3, living conditions. Number 4, health, safety, and wellness. Number 5, diversity and equity. Number 6, work-life balance. Number 7, empowerment. And number 8, community engagement. Lastly, philanthropy and volunteerism. Sustainable and resilient development. Sustainability in development of physical structures and systems is partially based on understanding that natural resources are finite and we want to make sure there is enough to go around for many generations to come. But it is also based on the idea that human beings must not cause measurable damage to the environmental systems and functions. ASCE defines sustainability for civil engineering as a set of economic, environmental, and social conditions in which all of society has the capacity and opportunity to maintain and improve its quality of life indefinitely without degrading the quantity, quality, or the availability of economic, environmental, and social resources. When we say resilience, it is used to describe the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or disaster. In physical terms, resilience is important in structures, services, and well-being of those who use these physical elements relation to the system that have been disrupted. Right. When we say community resilience involves ability to prepare for and adapt to changing conditions and to withstand and discover rapidly from disruptions. Okay. The UN Sustainable Development Goals, sustainability is usually measured by a series of goals, whether mandated by the local planning or building jurisdiction or recommended by organization with a variety of different agendas. These goals can be placed into four categories, the first of which is related to basic human needs and included number one, goal one is elimination of poverty, goal two, elimination of hunger, goal 3, eradicating disease and persistent health issues, goal number 4, increased access to education and school enrollment, goal number 6, provision of clean water and reliable sanitation. The second category of goals are related to basic human rights. Goal number 5 is gender equality. Goal number 10 is reducing general inequalities related to income, social status, and perceived differences with regard to religion or culture. Goal 16, improving the administration of justice and protection of peace and freedom. Goal 17, promotion of inclusive partnerships that will work together and moving closer to achieving sustainability goals. Third category of goals is related to environment. These are Goal 13, addressing climate change. Goal 14, effective management of marine biodiversity. Goal 15, effective management of land-based biodiversity. The fourth grouping of goals is related to the benefit of human livelihood for generations to come and includes clean, sustainable energy, which is Goal 7. Goal 8 is strong economic growth and availability of jobs. Goal 9, reliable infrastructure with innovative industry. Goal 11, resilient cities and communities. And lastly, Goal 12, responsible consumption and disposal of resources or waste. Basic human needs goals 1 to 4 and 6. The survival of population relies on a functioning infrastructure that can deliver clean water, remove waste, and connect people to one another. These elements provide for sustained living and must be operational for the long term, which means reliability and cost effectiveness will be important qualities to consider in the engineering of this infrastructure. Basic human rights goals 5, 10, 16, and 7. The Code of Ethics published by ASCE states this principle: treat all persons with respect, dignity, and fairness in a manner that fosters equitable participation with regard to personal identity. Akem Steiner, Steiner, Administrator of UN Development Program, quote this: To realize the promise of the 2003 Agenda and its core pledge to leave no one behind, it is essential that all peoples, particularly those facing discrimination and inclusion, have access and voice and can participate equally in every aspect of life. The Environment Goals 13 to 15. Goals representing the environment are divided into three areas: conditions in the air, climate change, life on land, and life below water. The issue of addressing climate change is primarily defined in the Paris Agreement, an international treaty. The goal of this is to limit future global warming of the planet. Zero carbon solutions are already providing to be economically competitive, most notably in the energy and transportation sectors. Ocean conservation is ultimately human conservation. Our rainwater, drinking water, weather, climate, coastlines, much of our food, and even oxygen we breathe are ultimately provided and regulated by oceans.
Hey everyone, our report is chapter 9 about benefit of future human livelihood. Construction and sustenance of infrastructure, industry, cities, and communities represent the bread and butter of civil and structural engineering practice. Human settlement was first used at the United Nations to describe the union and organization of physical elements, social services, and infrastructure. Physical shelters are built for privacy, security, and protection against the weather, formed using local materials and assembled by community labor forces. We have 4 E's to promote and support sustainability and resilience in a community by Charlie Edwards. The first one is the engagement, next is the education, third is empowerment, and the last is the encouragement. We also have 6 steps in planning for a more resilient community in taking a high-level perspective by the National Institute of Standard and Technology. First step involves the formation of a collaborative planning team of stakeholders and those who are instrumental in achieving goals. Second step, the situation within the community needs to be understood through an analysis of social functions, dependencies, and identifying clusters and key components of the built environment. Third step includes development of long-term community and infrastructure performance goals where hazards are also identified and considered. Fourth step includes development of specific plans to identify solutions and measures for meeting goals and present strategies for implementation. Fifth step, plans need to go through a proper review and approval by public committees, members and societies of the community, emergency response agencies, and permitting departments. And last is the sixth step, the final phase is implementation. Civil Engineering Solutions. On April 30, 2021, the ASE, or the American Society for Civil Engineering's Board of Direction adopted Policy Statement 418, the role of the civil engineer in sustainable development, identifying the importance of maintaining and improving quality of life. Green highway and hardscape construction materials. Green highway system is one in which the impact on the environment is minimized by an optimal combination of strategies and solutions ranging from mineral extraction to ongoing maintenance and eventual replacement. Pervious concrete is an excellent example of an innovative way to meet the needs of hardscape infrastructure while respecting natural routes of drainage. It is a type of concrete with a high porosity that allows water from precipitation and other sources to filter directly through, thereby reducing runoff, filtering pollutants, recharging the natural groundwater supply, and reducing the amount of urban flooding. Sustainable and resilient or urban drainage system. It is categorized as operational goals, the resilience, and the reliability. Sustainability can be classified as a strategic goal of civil engineering system. Historical stormwater detention areas is designed and situated to control flooding and reduce runoff. And this is the solutions to urban drainage. First is the installation of on-site stormwater capture. Second is the retention and local distribution, usually for purposes of irrigation, erosion, and flooding control. Green infrastructure is a term used to identify national water management elements and systems, including plantings, vegetated rooftops, and absorbent gardens that can capture, filter, and divert storm water. Optimization and resilience of transportation systems. Sustainable Mobility and Accessibility Research and Transformation, or SMART, is an interdisciplinary organization that actively studies and promotes urban transportation resilience. Principles of climate change adaptation. The strategies from civil engineering to protect infrastructure. First is the sea level rise. Future public works projects should take projections into account for flood protection, and existing facilities may require additional flood proofing or enhancements in the site drainage system. Next is changes in weather patterns such as increased precipitation. It is require updated pollution prevention plans for construction sites and improvements in stormwater management systems such as the drainage of land and collection or storage system capacities. We have 4 engineering with nature. First is the Dangote Sandbar Breakwater in Lekki, Pierce Marsh in Hitchcock, Texas, Marker Waden in Lark Markhen, and the Jackson Park in Chicago, Illinois. Structural engineering solutions. Structural engineer needs to continue assessing and discussing sustainable features and how they can help the overall project achieve sustainability goals. Construction materials. When structural engineers design building systems, a material is usually selected based on the requirements for aesthetics, open space, fire resistance, durability, resilience, economics, local labor forces, availability, and even the personal preference. Timber, also known as woods. This is the 10 principles to identify responsibly managed forest. First, forest management shall respect all laws and treaties of the hosting country. Long-term tenure rights shall be clearly defined. Legal and customary rights of indigenous people shall be respected. Long-term social and economic well-being of workers and local communities shall be maintained or enhanced. Encourage the efficient use of forestry products and services to ensure economic viability. Conserve biological diversity, ecological functions, and integrity of the forest. A written management plan shall be implemented and kept up to date. Monitoring shall be conducted periodically to assess the condition, yields, custody, and social and environmental impact of the forest. Special maintenance procedures shall be used to sustain high conservation value forests. And last is plantations shall be appropriately planned and managed. Now let's move on to steel. Primary ecological benefits of steel are recyclability. All steel are recyclable. Green steel is made using hydrogen rather than coal or natural gas and includes sustainable technologies through different stages. Next, resilient and reliable building and bridge design. Structural reliability of buildings and bridges refers to the probability that a member of system will not fail during the design service period by a specific mode such as member buckling. 4 common levels of potential performance of a structure that has experienced a hazardous event. First is the safe and operational. Sa safe and operational, meron lang minor damage, functions continue without interruption. Next is requires repair but is safe and usable. Kapag may moderate damage, safe pa din yon, and loss of some function, dun siya papasok sa requires repair but it is safe and also usable pa din. The third one is safe but not usable. Safe siya pero hindi na siya advisable na gamitin. It meets the minimum safety requirements but otherwise not functional. And last is unsafe with partial or complete collapse. These are the 6 principles of climate change adaptation. The first one, get informed. Structural engineers need to understand designs, stakeholders, political positions, professional responsibilities, and even potential liabilities, though difficult to assign in most cases, involved with climate change and increased knowledge of how decisions will have an impact. Low carbon. Structural engineers need to know how to measure and control embodied carbon using available tools and publish target goals. Emission of carbon can be controlled by management of material extraction and production and by appropriate project usage, as well as through reduction of materials themselves by recycling and reuse. The third one is lean design. Structural engineers should advocate for sensible design decisions that call for a minimum amount of raw material, such as by optimizing member and system spans and maximum stresses, evaluate alternative load scenarios, and take advantage of code allowable reductions while pursuing potential adjustment of serviceability criteria. The fourth one is zero waste. Structural engineers need to understand strategies for getting the most out of materials used in construction, including projections of useful life and maximizing the potential for future uses of those materials. Influence the brief. Structural engineers need to be aware of the potential uses of existing structures as opposed to completely new construction. Strategies of retrofit, alteration, and upgrades for changes in occupancy can help extend the life of existing building stock and prevent future carbon emissions for unnecessary new construction. Engineers should know how to discuss issues of sustainability and persuade clients to consider designs that follow these principles. Last one in the principle is to get involved. Structural engineers have a responsibility to be familiar with the needs of society and constructed facilities in consideration of climate change, and to engage the profession and other stakeholders in meaningful dialogue. A global and cooperative responsibility. We have 5 visions of engineering for humanity. The first one is the sustainable humanity. The process involves advances in physics and chemistry, as well as method of prediction and computation performance, being integrated with material science and the civil or structural design process. These advancements serve to enhance the sustainability of humanity itself through an optimized use of raw materials in such a way that enhances continued use for as many generations can be imagined. Next is health humanity. Healthcare facilities need an added dose of protection against earthquakes and hurricanes, and construction codes need to keep up to date with the latest innovations and research. Environmental and civil engineers also recognize their role in the health of humanity, being tasked with the design of clean and reliable storage and distribution systems for drinking water and the management of toxic chemicals. Secure humanity. It is estimated that 70% of the world's population will live in cities by 2050. So it is vital that information be gathered that can help determine the best ways to improve air and water quality, ensure a steady supply of energy, protect the environment, and sustain inhabitants with a vigorous economy, affordable and available housing and transportation. And the fourth one is the connected humanity, and the last one in 5 visions is the creative humanity.